So, yes, your homework is 821 35 to 40. That is honest truth. Now, that being said, I want to be done with our lesson by 9:25. Actually, probably 9:20, because I forgot that we have Friday Creative Start schedule, so it's even more awkward today. We have a mini mastery to take with 5 questions. So that shouldn't be a surprise either. We talked about that yesterday. So we're going to try to dive through this lesson real quick. What we talked about yesterday was trying to squeeze in as much learning as possible before we go take those state tests. Right? So that's what we're doing. That's why we're skipping over 811. Or all of 8.1. That unit, or that section, the 8.1s, has to do with measurement precision, like how precise should we measure things. We'll probably come back and do that after some state testing. And then 8.1.2, we compare distributions in like histograms and box plots and things like that. We may do some of that next week, but I figured for a quick standalone lesson today, 8.2.1 would make the most sense. So please head your paper with representative samples. And now we're going to talk about the vocab that they have here, but then we're going to make up situations relating to Phoenix. So actually, I think I might swap these so I can write on my screen what you guys should be writing in your notes. Are we all good on the homework?
Yes.
Can I move on to a new slide? Okay, so the first thing we want to talk about is when you are collecting data, and this is where statistics.
Please excuse this interruption. If the following students are here, please come to the office. Kaylee Perkins, Patrick Hilbert, and Molly Bauer. Thank you.
When we talk about statistics versus probability, statistics deals with like people, populations, like a group of things. And not necessarily people, I guess it could be animals or stuff like that, but a group of things that we can study and kind of ask questions to or investigate. So when we talk about a population, this means everyone, or a whole group. So we should all be writing this down, because we probably don't know this yet, at least not like all the pieces of this. You might be able to, take a guess that population means everyone. So if we were going to collect data about Phoenix students, what would be our population? Everyone, right? Our 7th grade, our 8th grade, all boys, all girls, everyone. So for Phoenix, we're going to jot these things down on our paper.
Sure, I'll do it.
All students at Phoenix. Right, I'm trying to make your life easy. So I'm using the @ symbol and abbreviating Phoenix. What's up, Mr. Kabila?
I have Aiden for a few minutes.
So then, when we talk about statistics, it all has to do with sampling. Now, anyone ever at the grocery store on a day that they're doing samples? Do they give you a whole pizza? No. So what is a sample? Like, we know what a sample is, right? A portion of a whole. So a sample, when we talk about statistics, a sample is a part of the population. What could we say could be a sample at Phoenix? Sure, 7th grade could be a sample. Because that's a group from the whole. Can anyone give me another sample that we could use? 8th grade, sure, yeah, but let's get more creative.
Teachers.
Ooh, girls or boys, so we could just survey the girls. What's another example? Okay, yeah, but be more creative. Yeah, now I'm going to go ahead and say that makes things a bit complicated to put adults and kids together, and there's only a few adults and there's a lot of kids. Let's just talk about our population being students. So then we couldn't actually use adults as the sample, like teachers, right? Because teachers aren't part of the student population. So, like, say we want to ask kids, how long does it take you to get to school? It doesn't matter how long it takes me to get to school. We want to know about you guys. Riley? Ooh, bus versus car. So, like, transportation subgroups. What about this class? Could this class be a sample of Phoenix students? What? What? This? That's a weird S. I know. My smartboard's weird. No, it's not.
It's a B.
My S's are like lightning bolts. Get over it. The judgment in this room is so thick. I think I need a gas mask. So much judgment. Now, hold up. If we want to ask our Phoenix population a question, and we're going to use a sample, Joey, would you be okay if I told you the sample I'm going to talk to is girls?
Yeah.
Would that represent all Phoenix students?
No.
Then why are you okay with that? You don't have a voice in that. Let's say I'm going to ask the question, what should we do to our bathrooms? Or, something, whatever. And I ask only girls. Is that fair?
No.
No. The girls might say it is. But this brings up the idea of a representative sample. So please write this down. A representative sample can also be thought of as fair. What that means is a balanced group matching the population. So a balanced group that's a U. Quit with your judgment. I do have a couple spots on my smartboard where it reacts weird. It's not just that my handwriting is terrible. That's part of it. So, what's a characteristic of Phoenix based off how our lottery works? You guys may not even be aware. The what? Well, yeah, but what does that make happen?
It makes it fair.
Yeah, but and this is going away this year, actually. In the past, when we draw, we pick half boys and half girls to have a balanced school. So, for us to have a representative sample of Phoenix, and please write this on your paper, for us this year, we would need half boys and half girls in our sample to be fair, because that matches what Phoenix looks like the whole student population. So if I wanted a sample of 10 kids, I should have 5 boys, 5 girls. If I have 8 boys and 2 girls, that's not fair. It's not representative of what the school actually looks like. Does that make sense? So, look around this room. Do you think this class would be a representative sample of Phoenix students?
No.
What are we automatically missing? I don't need, 8th graders. Because I don't need the whole school for a sample, but I do need it to be representative. So, we would need half boys, half girls, and half 7th and half 8th, right? We got to match our characteristics. So we got half boys, half girls, half 7th, half 8th. Does that make sense how representative kind of just translates to fair? Because it represents those different groups.
You can't split a student in half.
You are correct.
I mean,
Whoa.
If you want the formal, definition, it's right here. I'll slide this back down for a second. A sample that represents the whole population well, right? And then, all right, we got 3 more to talk about, and then I promise we're moving on, okay? Stick with me to write this vocab down. Please don't lose these notes, by the way. We're going to continue these notes next week. This is not all that we're doing in 821. So please, when we're done, let's keep track of these notes. So go ahead and give this section a header. We're going to call this types of samples or methods.
I just spelled types with an N.
Or methods. Anyone have a convenience store near their house?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Maybe. UDF and CPI.
UDF and a BP.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of where the UDF is close. Are you down in Worthington?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I live near
You near
UDF.
near Crafty Pint area?
Yeah.
I was trying to think, where is UDF and BP? What does it mean to be a convenience store? Why do we call them that? What is, okay, define a word with a word, thanks.
It's like close, easy, has a need.
Yeah, close,
Wayfair, you got
easy. Would you call it a convenience store if they were closed down?
Yes. No.
Like forever? No, so close, easy. Hey guys, I have some side conversations. I would love for you to come back, please. Close, easy, and available.
Aren't they always open?
It depends, but I'm just trying to get you to think synonymously.
CVS
So-
is always open.
A convenience sample are people. Close, easy, available. Yeah, you all would be a convenience sample for me right now. You're right here. I can ask you right now.
But I don't have what you
Would 8th grade be a convenience sample for me right now? No, I'd have to go. Yeah, I have to go over there. Essentially, convenience sample. It's the lazy method.
Convenience sample.
Now, here's the problem with being lazy. This is likely not representative. Because we said you guys are not representative, right? We're missing 8th grade. Convenience samples are likely not representative. Now, real tough here. What do you think voluntary response sampling means? This has potentially happened to you, especially if you watch YouTube.
I love YouTube. Okay, so you give your opinion on something, but it's voluntary.
Have you ever been on YouTube? You're right. And then a thing pops up and says, will you help our advertisers by answering a question?
Yeah.
We have 5 minutes max left to talk. That is voluntary response. You can ignore it. You can say no, and you're probably going to have to watch an ad then. But if you answer it, you are part of the sample. So voluntary response, and guys, you can kind of write down whatever definition you want, but voluntary response means you put the question out, and just whoever responds, that's your sample. So maybe like put an ad in a newspaper or like a pop-up. So like a pop-up question or an ad in a newspaper, or you could stand at the front door and ask people like, what should we do at Phoenix? And they could just walk past you and not talk to you.
That's what I do.
Or they could answer. Voluntary response.
Hey, Cubs got to sell cookie dough.
I don't want it. Cookie dough. I just like I don't want cookie dough. Well, that sounds.
2-word definition for cluster sample. Shared trait. I should see pencils moving. A cluster sample is when you grab a sample based off a shared trait. So here, you just came from this shared trait. Creative start. I could ask all students in band. That could be a cluster. I could ask just the orchestra room. I could ask just digital arts. Yeah. So any shared trait. Cool. Now, as you go to start doing problems, hey guys, I feel very much like I have to compete today. As you go to work these problems, last word, and we don't have to write this down. In inference, I think most of you already know this, it's a prediction. When you're asked to make an inference, it's a prediction. You infer based off something you see. That's why it's an inference as opposed to just like, well, I think. So an inference is like, if 80% of you said you want more Bosco Sticks days, my inference is we'll end up with more Bosco Sticks days. And then, guys, in your math notes box, it defines all of these. So please be aware, in your math notes box, it defines all of these. Do we have any remaining hanging out there questions? Now, all of my classes up until the next Math 7 are taking assessments, so if you could either move to a desk not beside someone or scooch yourself apart. I don't want you like elbow to elbow with somebody to take this assessment. So you can put your book away, you can put your notes page away. You don't have to have draft paper. You can do your work on here. If you want, you can do your work on here. On this paper. Not your draft paper. On here if you want. You may have a calculator. You might want one of those. You may have a calculator. You might maybe want one of those. Teachers on this test. You want a sixth question, Eva? Yes, you want another question?
Stop with this.
All right. Give me your attention real quick. I don't want your eyes, though. Put your eyes on your test. Number 1 is just a little chopped off because number 1. Number 3, it chopped off the P, so that should say pays simple interest. Right, you should be able to figure that out. And I think that's pretty much it. So be careful with 1 and 2. We want the percent change. You're going to have to say whether it's increase or decrease, right? In 3, be careful that we want final balance. So I would first calculate interest and then figure out the balance. 4, you must calculate the unit price first. Now, I know there's other methods we wouldn't have to, but I need to see that you can find a unit price. Then figure out what you could buy with $20. And in 5, solve it any way you want. Cool? Thank you very much. Don't ever say I'm not a nice guy. Interest formula there if you forget it. You can grab a highlighter if you want to highlight the important information as you go.